They say a man only understands the weight of silence when the music finally stops. I had the kind of life people envy in photos: sharp style, fast nights, and a woman who looked like the reason songs were written. I was that guy, the one with a wild past and polished manners, the kind of man you admire from a distance but never invite too close. And she broke me. Not with another body, with another connection. She didn't walk away for thrill. She walked towards someone who looked her in the eyes and actually stayed there. This isn't a story of betrayal in headlines. It's what happens when love doesn't explode. It fades. Quietly. Piece by piece. No scandal. No shouting. Just a woman slowly turning into someone who no longer sees you when she looks your way. There's no steamy drama here, but you'll feel exposed. No celebrity twist. But if you've ever loved someone who stopped choosing you, this might feel personal. I buried something in this story. Maybe it was her. Maybe it was who I used to be. But either way, something died, and something else was reborn. I was standing in the middle of my apartment, and she was whispering to another man that she loved him. And somehow, that hurt worse than if she had just cheated on me physically. My name is Karaman. Not the most common name, but I'm not the most common guy. Since I was a kid, I had my own code. I could throw punches like a beast, but I never touched the weak, never betrayed my friends, and never let myself be soft in front of women. I'm 28, and I'm the type of guy people turn to look at. Always dressed clean, leather jacket under my arm, that kind of stare that makes girls forget how to breathe. But inside, fire. I'm explosive. I don't keep things bottled up like most men. When I feel pain, I show it. When I'm angry, you better stay out of my way. Kansu and I have been together for almost 2 years. She's not just beautiful. She's got that kind of quiet sadness that makes you want to protect her. She knew what I was. She'd seen me ready to go to war for a friend, and she'd seen me gently stroke her hair when she couldn't sleep. I opened up to her in ways I've never done with anyone, and honestly, that was my mistake. It all started when she got that job at the gallery. New co-workers, trendy artists, and one of them, Emre. I didn't notice at first. He didn't touch her, didn't give her flowers. But I saw how she smiled when his name popped up on her screen. How she would hide it quickly, like she didn't want me to see. The worst part wasn't anything physical. It was that she started sharing with him the kind of stuff she used to share with me. Her thoughts, her fears, her day. And I realized I was losing her, not to sex, but to a deeper kind of betrayal. And when that night, thinking I was asleep, I heard her whisper to him, "I don't know what to do, I'm confused, but you're my person." Something in me shattered. I didn't hit her. But that night, I had to smash the mirror just to stop myself from smashing her trust to pieces. After that whisper, her whisper, I just lay there, eyes shut. My heart was pounding in my temples, my chest, my throat. I clenched my jaw so hard, it felt like my teeth were about to crack. In the morning, she acted like everything was normal. Made coffee, put a plate of pancakes on the table, talked like it was just another day. I sat there looking at her like she was a stranger, and I couldn't tell what hurt more, that she was emotionally cheating, or that I was pretending not to see it. I didn't say a word, just left. Spent the whole day at the gym. Push-ups, dumbbells, punching bag. I hit until my knuckles bled. I needed pain to keep from exploding. I can't talk when I'm mad. Words cut deeper than fists. And I'm scared of hurting the people I love. That evening she texted, "You've been quiet all day, what's wrong?" I didn't answer. Later, "I can feel you're angry, please talk to me." I was standing in the bathroom, staring at myself in the mirror. In my eyes, rage, pain, fear. Then came the fist. the mirror shattered, and only then could I breathe. She rushed in and saw the blood on my hand. Her eyes filled with tears. "What are you doing, Karaman?" "You, what are you doing?" I snapped. "You know exactly what's going on. You talk to him more than to me." She tried to explain. "I didn't cheat on you. He just listens. He understands. And you either yell or shut down." It felt like she punched me straight in the heart. "Did you ever try to understand me?" I asked. "I'm not perfect. Yes, I'm emotional. But I gave you my whole soul. And you? You go where people get you." We stood in silence for 10 minutes, just standing there in the broken glass. I saw her clench her fists, holding back tears, and I felt fear, real fear. Because maybe this wasn't just a fight. Maybe I was already losing her. I was living with someone I still loved, but every time she went quiet, it hit me like a slap. Ever since I shattered the mirror, everything had changed. She had changed. We still lived together, but it felt like two people trapped behind glass. We could see each other, but we couldn't touch. She'd come home late, barely spoke. I stayed quiet too, not because I didn't want to talk, but because I was afraid I'd say too much. Afraid I'd let something out that couldn't be taken back. Sometimes I'd sit on the couch and just watch her move around the apartment. Watch her put on pajamas, tie her hair into a bun, drink from her favorite glass. She was still mine, but at the same time, not anymore. I wanted to tell her I missed her, that I was hurting. But pride is a prison. I was both the guard and the inmate. One night, close to midnight, I heard her laughing. It was light, real. She was on a video call in the bedroom. I recognized the voice. Emre. And I realized she wasn't my fragile, soft Kansu anymore. She was becoming someone else, someone who could smile without me. I went to the kitchen and poured a whiskey. First time in 6 months. I don't drink often. I know too well how easy it is for me to lose control. But that night, I just wanted something to dull the pain. I drank, stared out the window, and one thought kept circling. I'm losing her, and I can't do a damn thing about it. When she walked in and saw the glass, "Again?" she asked softly. Not angry, just disappointed. "Once in 6 months is again now," I said, not turning my head. She stepped closer. "You think I don't see you're hurting? You think this is easy for me?" That's when I lost it. "Easy for you? I'm losing you, Kansu. Every day, little by little." She turned away, her voice quiet. "Maybe. It's already over. You just don't want to admit it." It didn't cut like a knife. It exploded inside me, like a landmine going off under my chest. I sat back down, silent, because I knew if I said one more word, I'd destroy everything. I watched her pack her bag, and it hit me. People don't leave in a day. They leave piece by piece, week by week, and one day they're just gone. After that night, the silence changed. It wasn't just pauses between words anymore. It was a wall, cold, heavy. We barely spoke. She came home, changed, went to bed. Sometimes she didn't even eat. I sat in the chair, listening to the tap drip, thinking, when did everything fall apart? I started looking for a way out, some kind of fix. Took time off work, wanted to be with her, to pull her back, to pull us back. I suggested a couple of days in the mountains, at our old cabin. No phones, no people, just us. She looked at me like I was someone she barely recognized. "Why?" she asked. "Just to be together, to remember what we had." She didn't answer right away, then let out a breath. I don't know if that will help. But 2 days later, we went. The car ride was quiet. No music, no small talk. Just tires on asphalt and the buzzing inside my head. She looked out the window. I kept my eyes on the road, stealing glances, hoping to see a flicker of the old Kansu. The cabin was the same. Even the blanket on the couch was folded the same way. I made her mint tea, her favorite. She took it, said thank you, but her voice didn't sound like hers. We sat in silence. And then I couldn't take it anymore. "Do you still love me?" I asked. She was quiet for a long time, then looked right at me. "I don't know." That hit harder than a no, because no means certainty. I don't know means emptiness. And in that moment, I saw it. She wasn't really there. Her body was, but her soul. It was somewhere else. Maybe with someone else. That night I woke up and saw her quietly packing a bag, trying not to make noise. "You're leaving?" I asked. She flinched. "I need space. I can't breathe. Everything here reminds me of the pain." I didn't stop her, because I realized people don't leave when they close the door behind them. They leave long before that, when they stop sharing thoughts, when they stop looking for your eyes, when they stop coming home with their heart. The house that smelled like her perfume yesterday now smells like emptiness. And I don't know how to survive that scent. After Kansu left, the house died. Not in the sense of silence, but in the way where everything stopped breathing. Even the air felt wrong. I opened windows, changed the sheets, tried to air it out, but you can't air out an absence. That first night, I didn't sleep. I just sat on the floor next to the bed where she used to sleep, stared at the ceiling, listened to the ticking clock. And with every second, I felt myself getting lighter, but not in a freeing way. Like something essential was leaking out of me. Warmth, soul. The next morning, I found myself standing in the bathroom, staring at the water like it could give me answers. I didn't even remember walking in. I just stood there, empty. No thoughts, no feelings. Just a dull hum inside. And then I remembered how she always complained that I splashed water everywhere when I shaved. I smirked, bitterly, because now there was no one left to complain. I tried to distract myself. Hit the gym, but my fist didn't fly the same. Met up with a friend, but the conversation was half-hearted, and my eyes drifted elsewhere. Tried reading a book she once gave me, but I couldn't even flip the first page, because on the cover she had written, "For you." So you learn to listen, not just with ears, but with your heart. I read that line 10 times, and I realized she had always tried to talk to me. I just listened like a man, not like someone who really wanted to understand. And maybe that was my biggest mistake. A week after she left, I went to the cafe where we first met, sat at the same table, ordered the same coffee, and waited like she'd walk in again, drop her scarf, and we'd start all over. But she didn't come. And that's when I understood. This isn't a pause. This is after. They say, if someone leaves, they were never yours. But she was mine. For a long time. I just let her go, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know how to make her stay. I kept telling myself it was just a pause, that she'd come back. But then you look at someone and realize they haven't been yours for a long time. A week passed, then another. I thought it would get easier, that the pain would fade like a bruise, throbbing at first, then just dark and dull. But it didn't. It only grew. I missed her. Not just the person, her voice in the kitchen, her scent on my pillow, her rushed, "Don't forget lemons." I stalled, waited, thought maybe she'd reach out first. But she didn't. So I texted, carefully. Not "come back," not "I'm lost without you," just so she'd know I was still there. "Are you okay?" Silence. A couple of days. Then another message. "I still think about you, every day." She replied a day later, "I know." That was it. No, how are you? No, me too. Just that. And that's when it hit me. Not anger, not heartbreak, indifference. It doesn't scream. It just stays silent. And that silence is colder than stone. One day I broke. Let's meet, just talk. No drama. She agreed. We met in the park. Autumn. Yellow leaves underfoot, crunching like something inside me breaking too. She was on time, wearing the same coat I gave her once. But it looked different now, sharper, like armor. I tried small talk, light things. She looked right through it. I stopped, just looked at her. You've changed, I said. She nodded. I guess I have. Is it because of him? She turned to me slowly. No, it's because of us. A pause. We were together, but you were always on the outside. And he just happened to be there when you disappeared inside yourself. I wanted to argue, say I tried, say I loved her, but nothing came out. Maybe she was right. I was physically there, but emotionally lost in my own storm. She looked at me, calm, and I saw it. She didn't love me anymore. No anger, no sadness. She had moved on. That was the end. Quiet, no shouting. She had been sitting next to me on the bench. Then she stood up slowly, like she already knew it was time. Adjusted her scarf. Take care of yourself, Karaman. And walked away. And I stayed there on that bench, like something had been pulled out of me. My breath, my voice, even the will to move. And I realized, it's not always betrayal that kills love. Sometimes, it's indifference. The strangest part is, when it's really over, there's no panic, no breakdown. Just silence. She left. Not just the part. She left my life. Quietly. Gently. No drama. No noise. Like she pressed some off button inside me. And everything went still. The first few days were the weirdest. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'd wake up and instinctively glance at her side of the bed, make 2 cups of coffee, then pour one down the sink. I didn't scream, didn't drink, didn't cry into my pillow. I just existed. Like everything in me was stuck somewhere between before and after. No meaning, just memory. One day, I found one of her hair clips under the couch. Small, black. Those little things. They hit harder than we need to break up. I held it for like 10 minutes, then placed it back. Let it stay. At least something remained. Eventually I started going outside, walking, no purpose, just movement. I watched people, couples, girls laughing the way she used to, and I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I just felt quiet, not empty, not hurting, just quiet. Like a house someone used to live in, but hasn't for years. I didn't look for comfort. I didn't rush into anything new. Sometimes I wish I could say I became stronger, that I learned something deep. But no, I just became quieter. And quiet isn't always peace. Sometimes it's just what's left when love is gone. I wasn't expecting things to get better. But one day, I caught myself realizing I don't think about her every minute anymore. And that meant something. It had been over a month. Days passed. Not fast, not slow. They just passed. I stopped checking my phone first thing in the morning. Stopped waiting for her voice to show up behind me like a ghost. I didn't let go. That word felt too big. I just stopped clinging. For the first time in a while, I started noticing little things again. The smell of morning air, the way dust dances in sunlight, the sound of the barista's voice, a stranger reading a book while walking down the street. It wasn't about trying to forget Kansu. It's just that reality wasn't a gray blur anymore, with her shadow hanging over everything. Life was coming back, not in full color, not loud, but softly. I still remembered. Sometimes the memories hit hard. Other times they felt warm. I saw a bottle of the wine she used to love. Reached for it automatically, then stopped, smiled, and moved on. Like something inside me whispered, "You remember, and that's okay. But now, go." I started reading books she once gave me, the ones I kept saying I'd get to someday. Now I read them, and in every page, I'm not looking for her. I'm looking for me, trying to figure out who I am without us, without her, without the pain. Sometimes at night, I play our old playlist. And now, I don't turn it off. Because the song doesn't always hurt. Sometimes it just reminds me I lived, that I loved, that I felt, and that isn't weakness, that's healing. I wasn't waiting for anyone. But one day, someone just sat next to me. And for the first time in a while, I didn't want to get up and leave. It was an ordinary day, no mood, no plans. I was sitting in the same cafe where I used to go with Kansu, not out of nostalgia. They just had good coffee and a familiar kind of quiet. I was reading, drinking, staring out the window. And then someone asked, "Is this seat taken?" A stranger, light jacket, a smile, not flirtatious, just simple. I nodded. She sat down. We didn't speak. For about 20 minutes, we just sat there, quiet. She scrolled through her phone. I turned page after page, and weirdly, I didn't want to run away. It didn't feel heavy. It just felt calm. Then she asked, "What are you reading?" I showed her the cover. She smiled. Good choice, tough book, but honest. We exchanged a few more words, then silence again. But it wasn't awkward. It felt alive. When she got up to leave, she said, "It was nice just sitting here," and walked away. I watched her go and realized I didn't ask her name. I don't know if she'll come back. But for the first time in a long time, I was curious. What's next? Not in a fall in love again kind of way. Not in a forget Kansu way. Just to move forward. Not chasing shadows, but slowly turning toward the light. And maybe that's where things really begin. I don't wait for her to come back anymore. I don't expect anyone to replace her. But I'm living again. And I've missed that for a long time. It's been nearly 3 months. I don't count the days. But sometimes I catch myself thinking I feel lighter. Not because I forgot or stopped caring. Just the weight isn't crushing me anymore. It's gone. Like old rain evaporating, drop by drop. Kansu didn't text, neither did I. And somehow that feels right. Not out of anger, but because we both understood our time came and passed. We existed, we loved, and then we didn't. No war, no winners. Sometimes I still feel the urge to text her, to share a song, ask how she's doing, but I don't. Because deep down I know those messages aren't for her. They're for that piece of me that still misses a little. And I'm learning to sit with that. Not fight it, not kill it, just live next to it. Now I go to the places we used to visit, alone, with friends, or just quietly. And I don't try to erase the memories, let them stay. They're part of my story, and it's not a story about pain. It's a story about being alive. There comes a moment when you stop waiting for magic and just breathe. Drink your coffee, listen to the street, and you don't feel empty. You feel yourself. That is the real return. Not loud, not victorious, but real. If you take anything from my story, don't let it be pity. Let it be silence. The kind that comes when you weren't late for a train, but for someone's heart. People don't leave all at once. They fade, drop by drop, through unspoken thoughts, unread eyes, and we'll talk later. And one day, you're alone. And you realize she didn't walk away. You just never showed up. Now I know. Love doesn't need saving when everything's burning. It needs listening when it's still whispering. If you love, don't go silent. If you're there, be fully present. If it hurts, say it. Because sometimes the things you never said echo louder than anything you ever screamed.